So I researched Iungo. It's an ICO that's looking to enter the global distributed wireless internet service provider arena. Current state, we have local internet providers and local connectivity. There's limits on the on-the-go usage. So think about when you're like traveling, when you're in an airport, you have to find those hotspot connections that are pretty decentralized. And then, or you can use your phone. So mobile data plans that are pretty expensive and restrictive. And this creates unsafe streaming from a consumer standpoint. So you have two sides of the market. Right now you have existing wireless internet companies operating with fields with closed, managed, walled garden proprietary technologies. And then you also have small to medium-sized businesses that are providing hotspots that are unsecured for just your average user. So their goal is to become like Airbnb for internet access by relying on, either small businesses or, just individuals to serve as access points to provide and share their bandwidth for internet. And members can contribute by either installing public Wi-Fi points to their premises, or also running parts of the service infrastructure to help offload things like end user identity verification and payment transactions. So the actual application is looking to use Ethereum smart contracts to facilitate the payment to those providers that are rendering a service of providing Wi-Fi. So it's a very community-based system that's looking to provide internet, sort of like a private network for like a VPN. So as a consumer, you can access this internet either by their mobile application or their website. So here's a little chart that shows who could work as a provider. So either businesses or individuals can put up their bandwidth through this application, and then pretty much anyone with the website or the app can access this Wi-Fi. So they're looking to make it a freemium business model for both users and providers. So to just make it free, but in order to access any of the premium upgrades, then you would have to use their coin. That's an ERC20 coin. So in terms of the token economics, they want to have a finite number of tokens. The pre-sale already ended. Right now they're in the middle of the crowd sale. In the crowd sale right now, you can get 15% bonus. I'll show you guys that a little bit at the end. But yeah, their plan is to have a total 100 million ING, and then that way the coin can appreciate in value as demand increases. The roadmap so far, they have an idea generated. White paper was published, and the ICO, the pre-ICO already successfully ended. And right now we have 17 days left of the crowd sale, and you can get 15% bonus until January 20th. And then it's predicted to hit the exchanges in February of this year. They're launching an alpha version of the software in June by installing a lot of those Wi-Fi hotspots. Then they're releasing the app in August, and then in December of 2018, they want to launch a beta software that includes the billing layer for the premium services. And then they predict by the second quarter of 2019 partnerships with legacy enterprises and new DAOs. The team, some of the top advisors they um, have they have some LinkedIn executive. You know, they made that a pretty big hype, and then they also have a guy that has a little bit of blockchain experience, but nothing, as you guys can see, nothing too related to internet providers, which is my biggest concern. So on the token sale, as I was mentioning, right now you can get 15% bonus if you buy it before the 21st. And then you have until the 31st of this month to buy it. So my recommendation, I think it's a high risk, high reward buy. I mean, it's a pretty big gamble. I think it's the first of its kind application. It has a pretty large target audience and a really big growing need due to the increased need for the internet through like Internet of Thing devices. And it's also going to be hitting the exchanges in February, so we might just see that initial 2x spike that we've been seeing with any other ICOs. So the biggest risk I see in the team is the lack of concrete connections in the internet providing area. And also, it's the reaction from internet providers, because the way this works, if you want to serve as a provider, you still have to pay your internet provider how much it would cost you if you were using it yourself. So we're not really sure, if I'm rendering my house's Wi-Fi to, downtown Chicago tourists, obviously my consumption for internet is gonna greatly increase. So we're just not really sure how internet providers will react to, just normal users changing their usage to a more almost commercial use. And then also, I think the biggest hurdle that they have is to create this community that they talk about of enough people and businesses being willing to share their bandwidth out to the public. So if you guys are interested to further explore, there's the website and white paper. But with that being said, are there any questions?
There's a information security risk in my mind, that if there's this network out there and someone has access to all the bandwidth going through, do they have controls to prevent theft of data, packet sniffing, and all that shit? Or are we just trusting that the data that's going to be going through this shared, almost like mesh network, is going to be sufficiently encrypted and that no centralized point is going to be monitoring it and stealing data?
They go into like pretty big detail in terms of like the technical aspects that they're looking to distribute the information. So I think like smaller websites would require like one provider, whereas medium-sized websites would require like separate combination of multiple providers, and then like really large ones would even have like a server that splits up the information. So I don't know. I personally didn't go too in depth on the technical aspects of how they're looking to share this data, but I agree. I mean, I think if they don't have some sort of control on that end, it could definitely be a large liability from data not being secured enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I kind of just start looking into ICO kind of lately. I'm totally new here because there's a lot of stuff going on in ICO, so I usually just stay away from it because of my risk appetite. But from what I gather on YouTube, reading a bunch of people who show ICO, they don't usually recommend any ICO that do not have a prototype. They can show you on like concepts that can rock the world upside down, but if they don't have a prototype, it's usually not a buy, at least from what I gather from what people say. So is there a prototype for this one or no?
Hey, I couldn't really hear you.
Is there a prototype?
Yes, if there's a prototype.
Is there a prototype?
Yeah.
Let's see. So they launched a network, but in terms of like an actual prototype, I don't think that's there. That's not there yet. You guys have any other questions or thoughts?